Well, good. I think so. Nikki, is there anybody on today that hasn't been to one of these before? Might be the question.
See, I know Nancy Murray. This is her first meeting. Cat Plaza is on maternity leave. Okay. And so Nancy Murray will be our direct contact to everything that Cat had connected us with.
Got it. So then let's do, while maybe a few other people are joining, let's go ahead and do introductions. That way we're all on the same page again. I was trying to shortcut that, but if we have new attendees, we'll do it. So so how about this, Nikki? I might let you, well, I guess depending on how many people we could do. So let's just start, and then if you would maybe pick the next person. So whoever's speaking, introduce, pick the next person, and so hopefully we can get through this pretty quick. So I might actually start with Amanda. That'd be great. And then
yeah, thank you, Kelly. Yeah. Hi everyone, great to see y'all this morning. My name is Amanda Miller and I'm with the Place Setting Company. So I work with Nikki, and we'll admit that today we are kind of wild here. I'm getting ready for the economic forecast that is a Biz West event. So we are deep into setting up registration, but I'm here, and I will turn off my camera just so we're not distracting you, but I'm really happy to see everyone. So thank you, Kelly. I will turn it over to Madeline with the park people.
Thanks, Amanda. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again. Nice to meet you, Nancy. I'm Madeline with the park people. I'm the new Urban Forestry Workforce Development Manager. Happy to be here. Should I pass it to someone else? Okay, Kelly.
Good. So Kelly Gouge, I am with Save a Tree. I forgot to put that in my little title there, but I'm with Save a Tree here in Colorado, and now recently we are in Montana. So we just picked up another company up there in Bozeman. So I get that lovely responsibility, but focused on Colorado. It's where most of my team is. And so I'm district manager here. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It's exciting. So Lynn Vossler.
Hi all, and hi Nancy. Good to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah. So Lynn Vossler, I'm working with Workforce, Front Range Community College, and we are overseeing the related learning portion of the Arborist Apprenticeship. And Nancy.
Well, I'm Nancy Murray, and I'm with CUA, the Colorado Urban Workforce Alliance. And Kat and I have met and chatted about the partnership. I think I spoke last year maybe about how Workforce can kind of connect with the partnership and the apprenticeships. I come from Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development and have supported an apprentice that Randy sent us from up here in Larimer County. So I'm happy to be a part and see what I can do to help out.
Thanks, appreciate that. Who's next? Adrian, if you want to.
Hi, my name is Adrian Camacho. I am the forestry superintendent for the city of Aurora. We've got a number of apprentices in the apprenticeship program, and have been pretty involved in the sector partnership from way early. Randy, how about you?
Okay, am I muted now?
Yeah, you're good.
Randy Grady, I do human resources for Treetop Plant Health Management in Wellington. And how about Dan?
Yeah, I'm having some computer issues. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm with Summit Tree Care. I got one apprentice in the first year cohort. And I had my wisdom teeth out yesterday, so I'm going to be quiet for most of this.
Listening. Okay. Brian, why don't you introduce yourself? Might be on mute. Well, you are on mute, but we can't hear you. Okay. Joaquin.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joaquin Mobley, Vice President of Community Works. Also a local entrepreneur. I am one of the 4 owners of the Community Tree Service.
Excellent. Let's see, am I seeing anybody else that hasn't? So Nikki, obviously, if you want to introduce yourself, and then I'd see if there's anybody else that we've missed.
Sure. Nikki Lucas with the Place Setting Company, and we, Amanda and I, provide administrative support for the partnership. I'm excited for 2022.
It is a new year, starting off with a bang. Good. Excellent. Well, I think that's everybody then. I don't know, Brian, if Brian's there, but
The chat says Brian's out plowing
Oh.
snow and he'll be in and out.
Oh, got it. I should turn the chat on. Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, I've got to watch everything, huh? Watch everybody's faces in the chat and the agenda. So appreciate everybody making it. You know, I think good for us to get together periodically and kind of update where things are at. Josh, I believe, so Nikki said Josh is actually in route in travels, so he's not able to join us. So I'm jumping in to facilitate a little bit today, although I'll be dependent on each of you, you know, to update where you can on some topics. Obviously, we're, you know, the Arborist Apprenticeship is I'm going to say a little bit of the flagship of this group, right? So that's really why we came into existence, was to really get that off the ground. And now we're heading in and we got it off the ground. And now actually a little bit of news later, which is our first apprenticeship, you know, has come out of the program, not necessarily, but in having gone through the related learning, because there's multiple ways to do it, but the apprenticeship in general. So, you know, so to talk about the apprenticeship and then talk a little bit about, you know, some of our goals in terms of updating awareness of our industry, hoping to go through that. And I would believe, you know, we should be in and out of here in an hour or less, I would bet you. So, and then any other, you know, try to open up the forum kind of at the end, if there's anything else that we need to bring to the table that you might help us as a group or industry. So, so those really the agenda for today. So, you know, the Arborist Apprenticeship update, I might lean on maybe a couple of you to share a little bit about how that's going, but you know, I can tell you from my experience, right? So our company has actually 6 apprentices total. One is in the 3rd year cohort, and then I have 5 in this 1st year cohort this year. And so, you know, I'm going to say from my standpoint, no news is good news. Like they're you know, in process and in progress. And I know each time I get a chance to talk to them, which isn't too often, you know, they always are really impressed with what they're learning, which is great. And they've come a long ways. So that's sort of my experience. But in terms of the actual related learning, I don't know, Lynn, are you in the day-to-day on that at this point? And how's that going from your perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I can report. Doing well. We've had a few struggles with snow issues and with COVID issues, like everybody. We are requiring, because the classes are taught on site, Front Range is requiring that students have either a vaccination card or proof of a negative COVID test within 72 hours. And so that's going pretty well. We had a couple students with a little bit of challenge around that. And so just getting the word out, we really hope as employers should help us get that word out to students so they don't. We had one who didn't read the email and he had to drive, an hour home and get his vaccination card. So, so help us get that word out so students can be prepared. We also require that of instructors. But other than that, we have a really good first class. I think we've had one student that we've lost, so we're down to 8 students in the first class, year 1. And thanks to all of you who are sending great instructors our way, because the instructors are folks who actually are doing the work. They're really well prepared. They know their stuff. And so we've got some good classes going on. We're starting into February, March, will be starting to be into the climbing and rigging courses. So again, snow might be an issue. We always build in some snow days in case, and would like to, at the end of this, really start to work with employers on how do we, because employers have been great about being flexible, but we have had to move some classes around. So it'd be great to get some feedback about that. Also, as we talked, our retention is a little light on the second and third year. We did have a company come to us, Rainbow Tree Care out of Minnesota, and they are leasing our curriculum. And with that, we'll be able to put some money into the budget to really look at perhaps we move that second and third year to a bit more hybrid. So students can do a little bit more online, especially if we're down to that 3 and 4 numbers of students in that second and third year. So we can make it more of a hybrid model. So again, we'll be looking to that advisory team to help us build that for next year. But things are going great as far as the related learning goes.
Good. Actually, Nikki did remind us. So the last time we met, we had a conversation around knowing that there was still some instructors needed. And I was hoping actually that last time we were talking about maybe, I don't even know who all the instructors are. So particularly for the leadership team, that we're aware of that, because I know that I heard kind of third hand, actually, believe it or not, my organization's big enough. I don't know everybody all the time. And so I know I may have even had a couple of instructors that were asked that I wasn't fully aware of, but if we could, and then what other needs there were, right? So from another either topical instructor. So at this point, do we have all the instructors that we need to fill the first year classes for this year?
We're still looking for someone to teach tree risk assessment.
Okay.
And tree support systems and lighting protection. So I'll get that maybe I can text you, or email you that information, Kelly, and you can get
That'd
that out to your advisory team.
And if you would just include Nikki on that, that'd be great. That way we kind of know what are our current what's our current status, and then what holes are we looking for.
Sure. Yeah. And I can tell you, I can include
Okay.
all the people that are teaching.
Okay. That'd be great. Yeah. That way we know. We can brainstorm a little bit on where we might be able to find those. So that's great. And then I think as part of that, remind me on the lift portion, is that coming up in March as well?
Just getting out my schedule.
Okay. So I need to start thinking about finding the bucket truck again.
Yes. So Ian Lewis, Ian teaching? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that will start aerial training and climbing February 28th.
Okay.
Is the first class for that.
Okay. All right. So I'll get with Ian. He's normally in the same office I am, so that's good.
Okay.
So
Super.
I know I had pointed him in that direction, and he and I hadn't connected recently, so that's good.
Yeah, he's been great.
Excellent. Okay. Good. And then on the third year cohort, remind me where we're at in terms of their related learning. Are we doing online stuff for them, or are they doing a few in class, or how's that?
I think we've been able to get almost all, let's see, third year, all the classes delivered in person.
Okay.
That tree risk assessment is just the last one that we
Okay.
need to find an instructor for. And it's just a one-day class. So I believe somebody sent me a name of somebody who could maybe teach that. So I
Okay.
think we're getting close on that one.
Okay, good. But pretty much you've got that taken care of, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Good. Anything else? Any other feedback for folks that actually have apprentices in there, kind of how things are going?
Students have been great. I think just, again, thank you for being flexible. We do try and get an email out with the equipment list before each and every class, and then do surveys afterwards so that we can gather evaluation back from the student.
Good. Excellent. Okay, Nikki, there was something related to that on the agenda, I think, in terms of next thing. I'm trying to remind you. Yep, thank you for putting that back up. Yeah, so competency-based model. I think, again, I've got a little bit of personal experience here. So we actually have met with Department of Labor. We're in the process as a company. So Save-A-Tree is converting to the competency-based model. So we're actually working through our apprenticeship program on that standpoint, and I think things are going pretty well. I actually owe the Department of Labor a little bit of information, but sounds like for the most part people are all switching over to that, which is good. We can keep related learning in there, but it really is going to be competency based for the future. So anything else? I don't know if anybody else has any experiences with that at this point in working with Department of Labor. Anybody having challenges in converting? Because I heard there were a few.
And then I think I'm curious, again, if you could just lift up who you're relying on to help you through the process, just in case anybody is having it or hasn't had those issues, but will kind of highlight that you're not in this alone. There's someone holding your hand on the way.
Yeah. So in a really, I would say Cynthia McLean with Department of Labor has been the leader there. I know, I think her direct manager has been getting involved a little bit recently. That's got more well-versed in apprenticeships across all industries. So, but Cynthia McLean has been really helpful along the way. So I guess that's what I could tell you, right? So, and she's definitely, if we don't have something quite right, she's definitely willing to hold our hand, right? So we've had a couple of meetings with her, and she's more than welcome to do that. So, good.
And Kelly, just just so you know, if you have any questions or you're having trouble reaching Cynthia or anything like that, just reach out and let me know.
Okay. Yep. I mean, she's been I've been the bottleneck for our company, so not her. So yeah, I've been kind of the problem there, but we're working on it still.
Great.
But I think things were going pretty well. So David, I see you jumped on. If you want to quick introduce yourself to the group. You're on mute, I believe. We can't hear you.
Hello,
There
I'm
you
David Merriman with Arborist. Sorry I'm late. We do snow removal, and I got the phone call. So I had to call 40 people, get them out to the site.
Yeah.
I'm out at the site now, so I'll be jumping in and out because people ask what can they do. But that's who I am.
Yeah, good. Hey, Dave, real quick, because I know you're going to jump in and out. Have you guys been able to successfully move over to competency model, or are you guys already there?
Michelle has been working on that, my assistant.
Yeah.
And last that I know, she's still waiting on some type of paperwork because we submitted everything that we needed to And then they had to do something, they're going to send us back something. So I think that's where it's at.
Okay. Okay. Well, good. I don't know whether you just heard, so Nancy had, offered to help, facilitate that out a little bit. So with workforce. So
Yeah, I don't know if you know, David, Kat has gone on maternity leave as of today. And so I'm filling in for her. So if you have any questions or you need any assistance, please reach out. Nikki has my contact information, and maybe I'll stick it in the chat too, in case you need that.
excellent.
Yeah, everything that's going on for me, Michelle is doing for me.
Yeah.
I lose my keys every day. So without Michelle, I would be in trouble.
Well, then if Michelle needs anything, let her know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Good to see you, man.
Yep.
Be safe.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else on that topic? Nikki, I don't know if you'll throw back up the agenda for me.
Yeah, I think just kind of a reminder of why employers are switching to that, and
Yeah.
especially if we have any employers who in the future hope to be a host of an apprentice, why we're switching to that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think for us, I think it just as Lynn had shared, the related learning continues to be a little bit of a challenge just from a flexibility standpoint. And there was some, I don't know, there was some, I want to say some guardrails, right? In terms of time, people don't learn at the same pace, I guess is part of that, right? Which is the original Arborist Apprenticeship was really a 3-year and about, I think, pretty close to 5,000 hours documented, between related learning hours and on the job hours, finding that everybody learns at a little bit of a different pace. So kind of trying to take the handcuffs off in terms of timing. There's still something reasonable about, I don't think we're going to end up with apprentices in 6 months or maybe even a year, because it is it's a skill set that is acquired with experience. So I'm not sure, but it gives us a little bit of flexibility and takes the handcuffs in terms of whether it's for the tree trimmer, because some companies have the tree trimmer apprentice program that typically was a 2-year program, and then the arborist level was a 3-year program with 3 full, I'm going to say, winters of related learning, and then a lot of on the job hours. But it really lets companies work at the pace that they need to, or that the individual is actually accomplishing all those competencies. I still think related learning by people outside of the company is an important part, at least from my aspect, because as many times as we as people's managers or leaders or trainers might tell them how to do something or demonstrate something to them, to have somebody else outside of the company tell them, sometimes that light bulb goes on, and that, they may have heard the same thing 5 times, which actually is part of adult learning, right? So that repetition is important in my mind. So, I still think the related learning outside of a company is very, very, in my mind, pivotal to the whole process. But that is sort of the why, we're giving ourselves as an industry a little more flexibility around
Kelly,
the guidelines. Yeah, Dave.
One of the questions, because I've been talking to foresters and trying to get the apprenticeship. So if you're a journeyman, that would waive because everybody's doing the ISA certified arborist, and then if you're a certified climber. And one of the questions that everybody's bringing to me is, how do we know that your program is producing quality people? So it's been brought to my attention by a couple different foresters is, hey, yeah, we would like to do this, but we know if you are a certified arborist, you have all the documentation. And we know if you're a certified climber, which I've argued with them, to be a certified climber, you go to ISA and you just participate in that one day, and then you get your paperwork. Yeah. So this is something that the foresters are talking to me about, saying, you know, how do we know that your programs get to produce the quality people that we need? So that is something that throughout, no matter what we do, that we're going to have to work with. That way the foresters can, because once the cities jump on board with this, we can move on and get better results, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Oh,
I
go
can
ahead.
speak to that a little bit, just from our point of view. David, we supply a certificate of completion at the end of every course, and it lists on the back all the competencies that the individuals have had to achieve, from our point of view, from the related learning piece. So, and then the arborist, the apprenticeship piece, does the same thing, in that there's that whole list of competencies you have to check off. So you do have something in writing, and we can help to supply that to folks who are interested.
Yeah.
So for clarity, David, are you saying that, like outside of the skill set, the hard skill set, how are you figuring out, you know, who's quality, right? Outside of that, is that?
What I'm saying is, you know, I can say I produce a good quality candidate, and Callie can say that he produced a good quality candidate, but we don't have very many candidates out there. So when I'm talking to cities to use this as a base, so you don't have to take tests and all that, they are curious on how we're producing these people, and that we are producing high quality people who could do the job. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
And
so.
if I
There are industry credentials, right, that are that have caught traction. So the International Society of Arboriculture Certified Arborist, right? That's one that has actually, it's starting to become widely known. The problem, I'm going to say the problem, what with certified arborists, though, that is really an academic learning. It's not a demonstrated skill from a standpoint of being in a tree. And on the other hand, ISA also has the certified tree worker that David was referring to, but that's a one-day demonstration of skill, right? And not a proven track record of, you know, 5,000 hours of on the job and, you know, and related learning and those types of things. So what we're trying to get is the municipalities to recognize that as a high qualification, right? And a differentiator for their contracts, that if they're hiring a company that has apprentices and journeymen, maybe more importantly, that's a differentiator, right? That if they're asking and basically not hiring a company that doesn't have journeymen, there's just a known that they're getting, right? Looking, so with a company that's got journeymen, and so at this point currently, most municipalities do one of two things. They either have their own test, right? So believe it or not, the city of Denver will still take, you know, if somebody wants to apply to have an arborist license in Denver, Denver will actually take them to a park and make them demonstrate their climbing skills. You know, they basically proctor a skills test. They will also accept the certified tree worker, which is an ISA proctored test. They'll generally accept that. But believe it or not, the certified arborist itself, they won't accept, because again, there's no demonstrated field skills. So I think, you know, what we're trying to do is get this recognized by municipalities as an industry standard, being journey workers. So I don't know whether we can put something together that, you know, if we think about that, it's almost like a fact sheet, Dave, maybe to give to municipalities that says, hey, these are the minimum qualifications for somebody who's actually a journey worker, that says, you know, they've had X number of hours. Here's all the competencies. I mean, it's almost like an advertisement, right, of what all the journey worker is actually capable of doing. You know, maybe that could help in that process. But I mean, what are they asking you for, right? So if you're talking to them, what do they need as substantiation, right, for that to be in there?
So I have, okay, so Brighton's one that I'm working with right now. I have this one I have a big property, Cam Properties. They own, I don't know, 100, 200 properties here in Denver. And they always throw me these stupid sites for properties. Like one's in Brighton, one's in Greeley, one's here, one's there. So they're always throwing me these stupid ones. And if I can't find somebody to do the work for me in that area, I have to personally go there and do it, or our company has to, in order to keep this property management
New
company.
text message from Josh Moran.
So one of the things is most of the cities are saying okay for the skill test. No, for the book test, but not the skill test yet. So, and I mean, so that's where I am right now. They still want to see the climbing, and I'm like, hey, they have 3 years of climbing.
Can I ask a silly question? Just so I understand. Does you'd mentioned that the ISA does the certified climber, and are you saying, David and Kelly, that the apprenticeship kind of replaces that, but it's not understood and known and clear of what's being covered? Or do they go through the apprenticeship and are now prepared to do that climbing test and ace it, and they still walk away with it? Or the apprenticeship is in lieu of it?
If you go through the apprenticeship, you should be able to pass the ISA test, and you should be able to do climbing. I mean, because you have 4,500 hours of on-the-job training. And, with that many hours of training, you should be able to climb no matter what.
Yeah.
And you should be able to pass the test because, like Kelly was saying, you have all of this learning, and if you get it training from other people, you're going to only become more qualified. So a journeyman, in my opinion, is the complete package, where ISA has this package and this package and this package to equal what the journeyman is.
Yeah.
That's what I look at it, but it's convincing the rest of the arboricultural world that this is the complete package.
Yeah. So I think it could be in lieu of that certified tree worker, particularly, right? That's not necessarily a barrier. I mean, I think ultimately we'd like equal recognition, right? Especially for the states that offer the apprenticeships, right? So, and I would say that that we're looking for recognition as a skilled trade. That still is a real challenge, right, for arboriculture. In that, and everybody knows that electricians, there's apprentices and journey workers. Everybody knows in the HVAC world that exists as well. Everybody knows that, from come to like welding and those types of things. Arboriculture is, everybody thinks that anybody in a truck with a chainsaw can be that. And so we're trying to work on industry recognition as well, which is part of what this apprenticeship program is all about, right? Is that skilled trade that is every bit as skilled as those others, in my mind. So, and yes, I'm proud of the industry. So, but okay, what's next on the agenda there, Nikki?
Real quick, I just wanted to highlight, because I don't think it's on the agenda, but I did just want to highlight that the CWDC is going to add Arborist as a career pathway on their My Colorado Journey website. It's not currently represented. That would be released next year, and they will be meeting with the leadership team in February to highlight that career pathway. And part of what they do when they do that is they identify the positions specifically to Colorado, and obviously the where you start and then where you can end. And I think one thing that we'll have to highlight is kind of those certifications and what those certifications qualify you for and what they don't. And I think we just have a really big opportunity to be recognized as that career pathway to a larger scale. So it's not, again, it's not coming out till next year, but I think that conversation and that ability to organize these thoughts and processes and pathways, we can take advantage of that with the help of the CWDC.
Yeah. So yeah, that again, further sort of industry recognition, right, for in the world as a whole. Good. Next on the agenda, if you'll stick that back up for me, Nikki. Thought I had a copy of it, but apparently I can't find it. So pre-apprenticeship programs. Yeah, so we had a couple that we were trying to, I'm going to say, partner with and support. One of those was AmeriCorps, right? So that one, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure actually anybody on the call today was overly involved with that. I know Josh was staying in touch. Anybody
is with the park people.
Yeah, so I know, yeah, so I was going to ask the park people. So Madeline, if you'd update kind of where you're at with things. I know we had a conversation a few weeks ago about kind of how we can help support you, but so the AmeriCorps, I don't know that I have much of an update, but Madeline, if you want to kind of tell us how things are going and how your program is progressing.
Sure, thanks, Kelly. Let's see, we're currently pretty much done with a curriculum outline, which is really exciting. And the certifications we're planning on providing are CPR First Aid, OSHA 10, and the Intro to Arboriculture Safety course through TCIA. So our participants will leave our program with those 3 certifications, which is pretty exciting. Let's see, we're currently trying to figure out some legal stuff with employer of record and how we're going to pay our people. And we really want to pay them wages, but we're trying to figure out if a stipend would make more sense for us for this first year. So that's something we're kind of working through. Let's see. I really appreciate that we're officially sponsored now by the sector partnership. So thank you so much for facilitating that. And we're working on getting on that eligible training providers list as well. So there's a lot of different things in the works. We're working on recruitment materials and stuff like that. We definitely have had a little bit of backlash from certain specific people about working with people who are formerly incarcerated or justice involved, and you know, people saying that they don't want to hire felons and things that are, you know, a little disappointing. So we're kind of working through that. But if anyone ever has questions about that, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to share more about why that's important.
Yeah.
So.
And then Madeline, remind the group, I think, so you were shooting for, if I'm not mistaken, you know, around 10 this first cohort or something. Is that still kind of what you're thinking is, or?
Yeah, we're planning on recruiting 12, I think.
Okay.
And then assuming that a few people might drop off even before,
yeah,
you know, the first couple weeks. So we're hoping to graduate 10. We'll see what happens. It's our first year, so
sure. Yeah.
That's kind of what we're aiming for. So, yeah.
And then your intended kickoff was when?
August of this year. And we're hoping that can kind of allow us to do like a teeny bit of planting in September, and then would funnel nicely into that apprenticeship that starts in November. So hopefully that's good with timing. And in future years, we might change the timing or expand to different seasons. So yeah.
Tree cares year round.
Yeah.
It is, by all means. So, okay.
And then I wanted to thank Madeline for spending time, well, first off, for starting the first pre-apprenticeship program, because that's why AmeriCorps kind of really got excited about it, is that they can do it, why can't we? And so just kind of igniting that fire and energy to start that program. And I believe from our meeting, they'll kind of use the curriculum that you started to put together. Is that correct, or mimic it?
Yeah, I was planning on sharing American Forest pre-apprenticeship curriculum with them, because that's like a national resource. And then maybe I can work with them on what they're doing for that. But our ultimate goal is to increase retention in the Arborist Apprenticeship. And so we really want to keep those conversations open about how we can help support the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Because I do think I think it's a good, I'm gonna call it a partnership, right? From the standpoint of, because retention has been a challenge, right, in the apprenticeship program. And I think part of that is that as a company, we had some folks that they didn't necessarily, they were newer to the industry, and they didn't really know, they hadn't got their hands dirty or their feet wet yet. And so that, once they figured out that may not be for them, and that's okay, right? Not all industries are right for all people. So, but sooner we figure that out, the better, right? So that's good. Excellent. So thanks, Madeline. I appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we are down to about 15 minutes. So I'm not sure if the news got out yet. So the first actual apprentice has graduated, I'm going to say, to journeyman. And so that company, yeah, so we got our first journeyman out of this that's been through an apprenticeship program in Colorado, which is fantastic. And so I don't know that was really overly associated with the Tree Care Partnership or even the related learning at Front Range, because there's multiple avenues, but it's great that we've gotten that first person through. And so, again, the industry as a whole, we're gonna get some recognition out of that, and keep moving forward. We'll graduate lots more in the near future. So I think we're probably set for at least a few more. So Lynn, remind me, the related learning, I think is finished here in like March or April of this year.
Yeah, again, depending on snow days and things like that, we're really packed through March. So I'm guessing we might go a couple weeks into April. Yeah. But yeah, it would be great to have, because we'll have our first set, the 4 that are in year 3, finishing up. So it'd be great to have some sort of celebration. Yeah,
we should think about that. And because I'm going to make an assumption. I haven't talked to all the companies with those, but I'm assuming that they're on the job training hours are probably in line, right? So everybody's keeping up with those. So that'll be exciting. So we'll have some things to celebrate here come April, and that'll be awesome. So looking forward to it. That'll be a day to celebrate.
Happy, Kelly, we'd be happy to host that at Front Range.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever we can do to start planning that.
Excellent. Yep. So how about Nikki, if you would do me a favor and put that on the agenda for the next leadership team meeting, that'd be great. That way we can start putting together some plans that'll sneak up on us before we know it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Excellent. And we're all looking forward to that warmer weather, because today is not so much. We all need the snow, but anyway. All right. So then there was, we have a few more minutes maybe for some other updates, again, so obviously part of our goal is really to, gain awareness to the general public for our industry as a whole. So working on doing that, I know that a number of the members, and I think have been involved in anywhere we can get into, which is some of the high schools and those types of things. And I don't know, Randy, if you are still on and you had talked, I know you were involved one, and I think Dave, you as well, recently about an experience. I don't remember if we covered that last time or not, but in terms of involvement with high schools.
I don't think I ever got involved with the high school stuff.
Okay.
I
So
think there's
I'm
some
thinking about
conversation
somebody
it.
else.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. So Dave, did you go to one? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did Jeffco 10th grade career day.
Okay. Yeah.
They had, I think, close to 1,000 students go through. And what we did is we made a portable tree, and I took my tree mark out there and we just demonstrated, let kids climb up and down. And then I had one of my climbers, single rope technique, climb to about 70 feet up and then rappel back down, just to give them a little wow and jump. But the one thing that we found out is probably 60% of the people that climbed the tree were women. So I know that's something that you've been working on, and I've been trying to find a female to work for my company for years. But it is good for me to see that 60% of the people who climbed the tree for us were the females who were interested in that. So hopefully one day I'll end up with somebody.
Yeah, I would definitely say we've got a lot more participation in terms of diversity there. You know, it's getting better, so that's a good thing. Good. Okay, so again, for any of you, we're always looking for those kinds of opportunities. I would say the partnership, we're looking for any place for our industry to get awareness and be known. And so if you have any ideas, I think we're trying to put together a little bit of a team that's willing to do that. So, anyone's willing to volunteer, but honestly, even if you just say, hey, this is an opportunity, we'll probably try to find somebody to get there. So that'd be great.
Hey, Kelly, a couple things. One of the apprentices that'll be graduating in April is a woman. And she's a climber and has won several contests in climbing. So when we have that celebration, I think that's something we can highlight, is that we have one of the apprentices graduating. The other thing is, if you could kind of get a group together that's interested in talking to high schoolers. All the high schools start to have career events this time of year. So they're bringing in all kinds of businesses for career events. And if we kind of had a group that says, yes, I'm willing to go out and talk to high schoolers, then we can start to match that up.
Okay, that's great. Excellent. Yeah, always look for those opportunities. I know that. So I think as a leadership team, we talked about it, and I think there was at least a few people that we had identified that were willing to do that. And I would say always ask, right? So we'll generally find somebody. So that's great. Okay.
I was just going to share. I don't know if you're aware that in Northern Colorado, there's a Work-Based Learning Alliance, which is a group of public partners. So it's all the school districts in the area, the community colleges, and their goal is to make it possible for students and job seekers to have work-based learning experiences. And so if you were interested and wanted to connect with the high schools or with the school districts, that's kind of an organization where they're all together, and you can go on, they have a website called NOCO Inspire, and you can go onto that website and you could put in an inquiry, and you'll connect with either somebody from Larimer County or Weld, or those two people work together, and they'll kind of get information out, I think, to some partners that might be a good fit for you. So in Northern Colorado, you might be able to kind of let folks know you're having events, or that you're available for events pretty easily.
Awesome. Nikki, I don't know that one rings a bell for me in our prior conversations. I don't know. Do you recall that coming up previously?
Specifically to NOCO Inspire?
Yeah.
I know who they are and what they do, but
got it. Okay.
But no.
Okay.
Okay. And I think Megan Townsend, who's on the leadership team, she and I met earlier this week and are diving into the details. And part of that is researching exactly that.
Got it.
We work with, we gather information from.
So Megan was that person I was trying to remember. Yeah. So Megan had done and really was trying to lead that for us as a partnership. So you might just stick that on your agenda, on the list, Nikki. So, okay.
Yep. I've got it down.
All right. And then what's the last thing on the agenda? I think that was pretty much it. I know we got maybe 5 more minutes or something before we probably need to wrap up, but a few other, reminders that I would just stick out there. So ProGreen, obviously the biggest industry show in Colorado and actually regionally. So drags people in from Montana and those types of things. Here's coming up in early February. And then, it's never too early to start actually thinking about identifying apprentices again for this next cohort that will be starting in the fall. Because again, sometimes it takes a while to get people interested in our industry. So be thinking about that if you're an employer that's interested. But usually try to give the last few minutes over and ask if there's anything else out there that any of you would like to bring up that we should be talking about. As a partnership that might help us move forward.
Real quick, Nikki, didn't we get something from Affordable Tree Care about she had asked for a special cost to go to ProGreen for apprentices?
Yes, Linda approved a discount for anyone in the apprenticeship program. To attend ProGreen for $25.
Can we send that out to the partnership?
Can I confirm? Well, if the intention is just for the apprentices, I don't know that I want to send it to the whole partnership, but let me know what feels right, because this is new.
Okay, I can send it to the employers and the apprentices.
That'd be great.
All right.
That's probably the narrow group that we need to communicate that to. So that'd be great. I know I've got a couple people going. I don't know if any of the apprentices are going or not, but that's good. Okay, good. I appreciate that, Lynn. Thanks for the reminder on that. And then anything else from anybody? Any ideas, things we need to be talking about?
One of the things I'd like to tell the park people is if they're getting backlash on hiring felons, the one thing they need to do is look at the industry, and I would project throughout the industry about 25% of people working in this industry are felons. So it is not, you are providing a group someplace to go that it already exists in this. And if you go back 20 years ago, it was probably 90% felons worked in this industry, because my father was a felon, and that's how I got into the tree world. Is my dad couldn't find a job doing anything, so therefore he went and took the test in Greeley underneath Joe, and he slowly started to educate himself that way. So there's still a large amount of felons that work in this industry, and to exclude them would not be a benefit for this industry at all.
Yeah. I think the question is, how do we overcome that stigma associated with that, right? And because I'm sure there are some concerns, right, and maybe some legitimate and some not legitimate, but the reality is we've got to, if we're going to overcome that, generally information helps with that, right? So that's a good point, Dave.
Thanks for that. I think that's super important to talk about, and I'd be happy to continue that conversation. If you have any ideas about like metrics on that, or if you have any folks for your company that are, just as involved, I'd be happy to get them involved in the program, because I think it's important for participants to also, right, like imagine themselves in those shoes and, climbing, doing stuff like that. So
good. Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Reach out to me or reach out to Michelle. And I have a felon that's working with me right now who would love to help you guys out on this.
Thank you. I would love that.
And he's with Arborscape, so if you didn't know.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, we are coming to the time. Anything else brief?
I put in the chat a link to a Jamboard, which is just a fancy sticky note program. And we are going to try to establish more of a process for when people fill out the form on Front Range Community College's Arborist Apprenticeship website a process to follow up with them, because right now we have a long list, and they kind of just sit there unless an employer goes there. And we do have great employee leads on there. Adrian with the City of Aurora has found an employee through that list. And so we just want to kind of have a process so they're just not just sitting there. So feel free to peruse that and just know that we're working on that. If you do have any feedback, let me know. And then specifically, if you have interest in being an Arborist ambassador, our hope is that we kind of narrow that list down to people who are really, really interested and do see themselves in a role like that, and then connect with an Arborist ambassador just to ask questions that I may not be able to answer.
Excellent. Good. Appreciate that. All right. Well, with that, we'll wrap up. And again, let you know, I appreciate each of you making time today, right, and being part of this and keeping us moving forward. So with that, I will let everybody go, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the future.